What's going on YouTube? Hayden back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video we'll be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XLM to US dollar. That is Stellar Lumens to USD. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications. Otherwise the giveaway ends at the end of this week, so I believe that is tonight. So I'll do the drawing tomorrow morning. Otherwise, as you saw in the title, we will be discussing certain patterns that we are kind of seeing come up within Litecoin and Bitcoin. And then lastly, as for the video quality, today and tomorrow will be the last video that comes out like this, and then I'll be back up at college and I have all my equipment there, so the quality will be 10 times better. Otherwise, let's jump into today's episode. So we're on the coin market cap right now. I did refresh. As you guys notice, we're at a 200 billion market cap, so we're not seeing much change. Slightly lower than yesterday. I believe yesterday was 201.8 billion. 24-hour volume is 9.7, also quite low, as well as yesterday is about even, so we're really not seeing much volume, but we're also seeing Bitcoin dominance starting to increase gradually. Usually when we see markets tank like this, we see Bitcoin dominance increase quite a decent amount, so we're at 54.4%. When I scroll down, as you guys notice, we are seeing that Bitcoin is really only down a very slight amount, 0.12, so 0.12%. And compared to the rest of the market, which seems to be down 2 to 3%, you can see how Ethereum is down 1.88 at 195. We have XRP at 40 cents, down 3%, and we have Litecoin at 2.2% at 52.20. So majority of the market is in red. There are some coins that seem to be doing just holding on, I guess. Pundi X actually is up 5%. But for the most part, 13% Komodo. There are a grouping of coins that seem to be doing quite well, but for the most part, the majority of the market does seem to be all red. Otherwise, to move on, let's look at Litecoin and Bitcoin. So there's a few things to take note of right here. We'll look at Litecoin first, and then we'll move on to Bitcoin after. So we did draw our ascending triangle that we were discussing yesterday, and it seems like we broke bearish from it. And it seems to me like most symmetrical triangles, at least recently, have been breaking ascending triangles. Ascending and symmetrical seem to be breaking in the negative. Same thing with Bitcoin. We were seeing a negative retracement back down when we saw that symmetrical triangle form on Bitcoin. So you can obviously see our ascending triangle. You can see the support bringing us up, the resistance at the top here holding us down, suppressing the market. And as you guys can see, we actually traded out of the triangle and then we retraced back down. So it's very interesting to see that there's a lot of suppression right now within Litecoin and Bitcoin. You guys can see we are kind of at a very interesting spot. I understand the lows here at $50 because we do have another point of contact here that is a support, but a retracement back up to where we are currently now, you can see we're kind of at, there's not many points of contact here. You can see they're kind of just wicks. That seems to be where the price is at, so it's very interesting. That seems to be the lowest we can get at the moment, or the farthest back. But we are seeing some sort of support here, or we're seeing some sort of resistance here, I guess. Very, very, very slight amount. That is where the wicks were in the past. So I do think we're just going to consolidate out now. It's a very interesting pattern that we're in. It seems like there's been a lot of resistance within Litecoin and Bitcoin recently. We were anticipating some sort of positive move, but for Litecoin, it seems like it obviously did not move in the correct way that we wanted to, or the right way that we wanted to, what we were expecting. But that it doesn't mean there's no hope left in cryptocurrency and Litecoin, and it doesn't mean there's not a potential breakout coming up soon that we should be paying attention to. And even in a down market as today, there is still plenty of opportunities to make money within crypto. Maybe not for the long-term hodl. Unless you're planning on holding on for a couple years, then I do think in 2019 and 2020 we will be seeing higher prices than current levels we're at now. But I do think much later we will start to see very, very, very nice prices. But speaking in the short term, these are very much so points of contact to make money from. As you guys can see, the price action we've had in the past, even though we are in a down market, and you can see the negative resistance on here from this downtrend, you can see the resistance it has been forcing on Bitcoin, there is still money to be made. These swings that we're seeing here when we go up like that, this one here, even these here, these are opportunities. They're all opportunities to make quite a bit of money. And now that we have found our resistance at the top, we can kind of judge how much you can make and where that price is going to reverse back down. So obviously you can see we're having a lot of negative resistance here. We were originally inferring that this could have been from our red band on the high-low MMA, but it seems to be, then this is the daily. It seems like it's truly this downtrend right here, this 9 or 10 month downtrend we're having that we have yet to break. Now, one thing that these charts are showing me is that we are not potentially, we're definitely not out of the bear market yet. Or sorry, we're out of the bear market, but we're in more of that accumulation phase. But if that, we're about to head out of the bear market into that accumulation phase. And the reason being is we're pretty much bottomed out. We're as low as we can pretty much go within Bitcoin and Litecoin. I do think this is pretty much the bottom for Bitcoin at 5,800. It is possible that this price right here at 6,200 could be the bottom. And usually what we see is we see some sideways trading, which we're seeing now. And I do think this is going to happen for the next week or two, where we're going to see prices like this until we can kind of reach this point right here. And that's pretty much going to be the downtrend, as you can see, a test point where we're going to pretty much see whether or not we can break bullish from that and move up, to levels as high as 6,700, basically up to our high-low MMA. If we're going to break bearish and fall back down to $5,800. So this is definitely going to be a point to look out for, and we could break bullish from it, like a lot of these altcoins we've seen in the past. Once we find that bottom level of support, that rock bottom level of support, the price likes to just bounce very, very, very high off of that. So we're really trying to find, a point where it's just rock bottom and it kind of gets sandwiched in, and then we see that, that upward spike in volume and momentum. So I definitely don't think it's a no hope. I don't think crypto's dead. I think there's a lot of use for it, and I don't think it's catching up yet. Like we've talked about in the past, it's kind of like this is all kindling, and it's going to be added into or set a future cryptocurrency bullish bonfire once we, get all of this accumulation, all this good news, which we're not seeing directly impact price, kind of gets accumulated into the future bonfire. Once that sets, once somebody sparks that, it's going to take off and be very, very, very strong. It'll be interesting too to see if Bitcoin is able to maintain the $6,000 support, or if it's going to break bearish and fall to that $5,800 level that we drew. Lastly, in terms of the 3 blue chips we like to discuss, so it seems like Ethereum on the 4-hour has pretty much bottomed out. Very interesting to see all the sideways trading, and then it finally broke down. But you can see we're doing the same thing, a lot more sideways trading. We did break bearish from that. There was a small ascending triangle. Hopefully you guys are able to pick note of that. So you can see, let's just move this right there. Then you can see the uptrend right here. So you can see that this is a better looking ascending triangle, as you guys can see. It broke bearish and it fell from this smaller resistance right here, this smaller triangle. You can see we did fall back down to basically being oversold on that high-low MMA, sorry, on that relative strength index. So I do think consolidation is needed, and I think everything's pretty much waiting on Bitcoin to complete this descending triangle. We're truly waiting on whether or not we're going to break bullish from that, either there or there, but we're definitely seeing some sort of movement, and things are just waiting for Bitcoin's next move before we see some sort of move within the altcoins. Lastly, I just want to pull up XLM Stellar. This is Stellar. I can probably make this a little smaller so you guys can see. Just like that. There we go. Mainly I have this pulled up on Safari and not Chrome, is because Chrome is giving me a little bit of issues with trading view on the browser, so I just pulled it up on Safari really quick. I added obviously our relative strength index. I added our high-low middle moving averages. You can see it's Stellar to Bitcoin on Bitfinex. But interesting enough, there does seem to be a lot of odd movement within Stellar. We were seeing some sort of ascending triangle forming right here. You can see if I drew that right there. I do want to just jump out to the daily so we can get a better view of things. But there is some sort of support it's at right now currently. I just drew, oops, not the right one I want to use. You can see that we are at some sort of support right there. And then you can see we're at a bottom right here. But we are pretty much just consolidating out. You can see there's really not much movement happening within XLM and Stellar, and you can see we did have our most recent run right here, so we've pretty much indicated a bottom for this coin. You can see the bottom right here where the Bitcoin price is, and it seems like Stellar is not going to really be breaking much lower than that. You can also see we have a support at the top, which pretty much the price is pretty much riding on at the current moment, and I do think we're going to see a lot more sideways trading, but keep in mind that if we do break bearish from this and we break below, we're pretty much only going to go to this level right here, and then we could potentially see some sort of, run like we've seen in the past, mainly because we have never been lower with Stellar. We haven't seen prices lower than, right here. So obviously we still can potentially move lower in the price. It's very possible, but being that we haven't yet, and the fact that we have our support right here, it's a very low chance that we can fall much lower. But basically that's going to sum up today's episode, guys. Tomorrow will be the last day I'm streaming like this, and then I will be back in my studio in my college apartment, and it will be much clearer. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Peace.